Good morning. It's my pleasure to welcome you all to the September 30, 2022 meeting of the Board of Regents. Always a pleasure to welcome people back to my alma mater. So that's my commercial for UNK for the morning. But our board has been here for a campus visit yesterday, which was very delightful, and now for the official business of the day, which is the board meeting. So, Bill, if you would please call the roll.
Regent Drake. Here. Regent Kent.
Here.
Regent Sadi.
Here.
Regent Sims. Regent Claire.
Yes.
Regent Kenny.
Yes.
Regent O'Connor.
Here.
Regent Ferris.
Yes.
Regent Pillen.
Here.
Regent Schaefer.
Here.
Regent Stark.
Here.
Regent Whites. Quorum is present.
I'd just like to make a comment or two as we begin. Normally, Regent Whites would be here. She is with a brother in Texas, right, Phil?
Yes.
Who is undergoing some very serious medical conditions, and she is the medical power of attorney for their family. So she is there, and we are trying to be there with her in the midst of all of that. So say a prayer for Barb and her family, if you will. Normally, Dr. Jeff Gold would be here with us today, but Jeff is receiving the American College of Surgeons Academy of Master Surgeon Educators Award. I don't know how you're going to get all that on a plaque, but we're very proud of what Jeff does and very happy that he is able to be there. Sorry that he's not here with us, but congratulations, Dr. Gold. Okay, well, since we do have a quorum, ladies and gentlemen of the table this morning, included in your materials is a copy of the minutes from our meeting of August 11th. I would entertain a motion for approval.
I'll make it. Second.
Okay, get them both. Are there any comments or corrections to those minutes?
Regent Kent.
Yes.
Regent Sadi.
Yes.
Regent Drake.
Yes.
Regent Kenny.
Yes.
Regent O'Connor.
Yes.
Regent Ferris.
Yes.
Regent Pillen.
Yes.
Regent Schaefer.
Yes.
Regent Stark.
Yes.
Regent Claire.
Yes.
Minutes are approved.
Alrighty, in compliance with the Nebraska Open Meetings Act, the board has posted a copy of that act in the south vestibule near the refreshments, so you'll want to go and read all of that, I am sure, but and leave some of the refreshments while you're there, if you would, please. We have a couple of presentations to begin our meeting today, and I think our first one is Dr. Christensen.
It on, there we go. As an IT major, I should know that. Thank you all very much for being here this morning, particularly to start out your meeting. But this is an honor for the campus. We're glad to have you here. On behalf of the entire UNK campus, thank you for taking the time to come visit UNK, to see what we're doing and how we're doing it, and to have your meeting this morning. Yesterday, we were able to show you many of the important developments that are current, ongoing, and future developments for UNK. And many of those were devoted to infrastructures and facilities. So this morning, I wanted to just take a few minutes and maybe take a look back and reflect upon how UNK has become UNK. We're not going to go through all 30 years or all 20 years.
Thank you.
But, well, you know, it's
Did they
it's
have
good for me that way
videos back
too.
then?
But I do want to reflect, I think, on the last 20 years as a primarily residential campus. as we discussed yesterday, UNK had great deficit. And we've been able to, over the period of time, do things to our buildings and our facilities, but people matter as well, and we've been able to increase in the quality and the outcomes for our students. You see so many PowerPoints. We come to you with many projects from all of our campuses, and you see those on a two-dimensional basis, and it's efficient and it's good, but there's no replacing seeing them in context. So that's the reason yesterday was so important, and we appreciate you taking the time to do that. During the last 20 years, we've really become a high-quality, mission-driven institution. We continue, I think, to offer a tremendous undergraduate and graduate education to many of the state's students, and that is the mission. That is what the state directed the university to do, and that is educate our children. And that's what we do, I think, so well. So with that, I'm going to offer you a few images as we go along and give my narrative to that. If you were here in 2002, you would have come through the front door. Of course, my favorite restaurant, Luke and Jake's, there on the right. But this was the campus entrance. This is what you saw coming into our campus. And many people would drive by and they'd get to the Health and Sports Center and go, I wonder where the university is. They would miss it. And so we have been able to take an intersection that was dangerous, that had little or no signage, that was confusing, and it was just plain hard to navigate. And what we did with that was to be able to offer you a new entrance to campus that you see here. So gone is Luke and Jake's and all those old buildings. A new area that is really attractive, that people are branded to, and now see the university as having a very good entrance to the campus. There's more parking now, it's safer traffic flow, and you really know that you've come upon the university when you get here. Our students were in a variety of different academic halls. This particular one is Bruner Hall of Science. You see it in its early stages in the 50s there in the lower left, and the upper right is what it looked like in 2002. Steep classrooms, inaccessible facilities. The building was built on 2 different levels because of additions being added on, and I don't know whether by design or by miscalculation, but they were not even floors. They didn't match up to do that. And so through the assistance of the Board of Regents, private donors, and the state of Nebraska, we were able to redesign this building, making it welcome. We completely renovated Bruner Hall of Science. The labs were all redone, the offices and the classrooms that were added, a planetarium complemented this entire operation, and today it houses some of our best programs. We had a wide variety of other buildings that were insufficient. Obviously, Otto Olson. Yesterday, if you were on the tour, we had a moment of silence for the passing of Otto Olson. Man, I like that being gone. But we've also taken down residence halls. We've taken down the East Heating Plant that you see here in the lower right. Many of those facilities were just not salvageable. Why? Because we did not do over the years deferred maintenance correctly. Today, the university is on a great trajectory, as you all know, for deferred maintenance, and we've been able to do many of the projects because of that, and we'll do that. Now, let's see, we've got some other. As Otto Olson went away, what were we able to replace it with? Discovery Hall. You know, our most technology-rich building that we see. Its modern, flexible learning spaces helped us through the pandemic, but it also has helped us attract students and good faculty members. It's fostered new collaboration and research and teaching, and perhaps more importantly, interdisciplinary approaches to teaching. That's good for our students. It gives them great opportunities. So many of our things that for students are student-centered. So on the left, Bob Ferris, you probably played in Cushing Coliseum, or perhaps rode the bench there. And
That's accurate.
they really didn't need to laugh, did they? Cushing Coliseum was the largest building I'd ever been in my life as a young man. And obviously, it's not the largest building. Needs serious repair, so it's been transformed from a basketball arena into a multi-purpose recreational facility. But we added a student-driven wellness center that was really driven at the desire of the students, and we found a way to fund that and do that. The upper level, of course, houses one of our good laboratories where we're able to engage the community. And we talked about engagement yesterday and how important that is to do that. I would tell you that now that the pandemic is over, the recreation numbers have just exploded. Intramurals, a wide variety. You see the climbing wall there. At some point, I thought that was on the floor and we were just crawling, but evidently that goes up. Health and sports. So here, the Health and Sports Center is undergone in a complete renovation and branding, complete with a new scoreboard that's the talk of the conference, new lighting, new video, new sound, which not only adds the athletic events, but as you all know, for those that come to commencement, it is a spectacular presentation for commencement. 20 years ago, Cope Stadium had a wooden press box that seated about 10 people. It had an extension cord to get to it, and it shook in the wind. And there was no heat. And quite frankly, you'd been foolish to sit there. It was a good stadium because about the 30-yard line on the northwest or northeast side was a big dip. And that if you ran the right plays, the defensive backs would always fall down. And it was a great home field advantage. Cope Stadium has become one of the best places to play because of the generosity of private donors. And we're very proud of that renovation and the lights in the press box. We've just recently renovated the second floor of that. It took us a number of years, but we've renovated it. And that's now the home for the football program and the women's soccer program. And that's a really good advancement for our students. Residence halls were a mess. We came with Antelope Hall, was one of the first renovations. We got rid of Ludden Hall in place of this. At the top right, I assume the only person here in the room that can identify that would be Bob Ferris. That's the old University Heights. Married student housing, as we know, had been replaced now with Village Flats. And clearly one of the major advancements for the campus to do that. Greek housing has been a problem on our campus. The left picture obviously shows our outdated and quite frankly fragile fraternity and sorority life homes. On the upper right, you see the rendering of what it's going to look like. Yesterday, you got a chance to go over and get your pictures taken, but see a renovated Martin Hall, a building that we did not tear down because we were able to renovate it, and it will be a showplace, as well as the new sorority life facilities across the way. Cope Fountain, at its time, was an icon. But as with all fountains, it outlived its usefulness. It leaked. It doesn't run very well. And we needed to put a new utility line right through the middle of it. In return for it, it's become one of the most popular student gathering points on campus, and that's the new light feature here. By the way, the public likes to come and hang out there as well. Part of that engagement. The library, thanks to your votes, we're going to be able to renovate and redo the heating and cooling systems and many of the operational things that need to make the library a functioning, effective facility. We'll do that soon. infrastructure is really important as we go through. You all helped us build and become part of a vision for the rural health building. That on the right, the rendering, we saw that yesterday. You've seen that so many times. But the health science education complex on the left, that has changed our campus, and will, between the two of them, will change this campus forever and will change rural Nebraska. These are just some of the things that we've been able to do, but there are many more I don't have pictures of, but I just want to reflect on a couple of them. University Village has been a major development that's going to give us the opportunity to engage so many more businesses and people, all good for our students. You obviously saw Cope Stadium, the central utility plant that now has much more efficiency, the ability to switch from electric to natural gas quickly to help save us money, the ability to provide steady and reliable heating and cooling to our campus. The College of Education building has been a great unifier for that college. At the point when we started, our faculty were in 5 different buildings, including renovated restrooms for offices, scattered all over campus. Now with one modern building that's been able to put them all together, great synergy developed by the faculty, that is a huge improvement to our campus. And obviously several additions here to the Student Union, and those have all been highly used. You see this on a regular basis. But it's not just all buildings. And so the popular needs and majors, these are often referred to as our H3 jobs that you have become so aware of, and the money that we're putting into them, but our growth in the master's programs as well, all of them based on what the needs are of the region, based upon the needs of what the citizens of the state of Nebraska have decided. Even though we've changed many of our facilities, we also have a teacher-scholar model here, which I'm extremely proud of. This is the engaging of scholarship within the discipline. Regent Stark yesterday leaned back to me and go, we had, as you know, one of our students in a student panel talking about her experience with undergraduate research. And I'm going to paraphrase what you said, but I didn't get to do that stuff till I was a graduate student or more. And they're doing them as sophomores and juniors and undergraduate and are extremely proficient in them. That's great opportunities. That's all driven by our faculty. We've grown to 75% of our faculty have terminal degrees. That student-faculty ratio is great for students. It provides us with some budgetary challenges to do that. But experiential learning on this campus is now a requirement across campus and has been so for the last few years. You saw those in our student panels yesterday. U.S. News and World Report. Now, this requires some context. For the last 15 years, we've been in the top 10. 20 years ago, we were in the 4th quartile. We contemplated not even turning in the information because it was better to not be mentioned than to be in the 4th quartile. They've changed. Who did that? Everybody on campus did that. Faculty, staff, the community, the alumni, all have been able to improve so much that for the past 15 years, we've been in the top 10. We're number 7 this year. The circle there shows you the area that we're rated in. That's high competition when you look at high population states like Ohio and Illinois and Indiana, Wisconsin, Minnesota. Now, there's always been a view that, well, maybe U.S. News and World Report can be manipulated. You know, people put out PR pieces. Let me tell you, in Division II, we don't have the money to do that. We pretty much play it straight. We are who we are. Why does this matter? I mean, after all, on the back of the magazine, they sell John Deere tractors. Why do we really care what they do? Because it matters to parents. What are some of those criteria? Well, they are class size, reputation. 40% of this is the reputation of our academics and of the campus in this region. Student debt, full-time faculty, our retention and graduation rates are all factors into this. I would tell you that we have come a long way with people as well. One of the great residential experiences that we do from a student, obviously, is things that we engage them on campus with, the honors programs, the Health Science Explorers, Thompson Scholars, Carney Bound, and so on. These are tremendously successful programs. It shows, research particularly shows that grades and retention and graduation rates are all improved by these programs. And one of them in particular is Carney Bound, where we're taking students as freshmen in high school in Lexington, North Platte, and Kearney, and begin to engage them at a very early age. These are first-generation students. They're at risk. They're at risk just to go to college, let alone graduate. Since 2006, we've been able to take those students and give them oftentimes over 90% graduation rates. They're expensive programs. Why do they work? Because our people engage in those students in a very meaningful one-on-one way. We need to do that for all of our students. The modern UNK campus has changed a lot. It's changed with its people. Our students are better, our faculty are better. And the community, once again, enjoys us. And they're proud of what goes on, and we're very proud of the community as well. So in conclusion, I know that you see a lot of our campus in Lincoln. We're so thrilled that you would see our campus here. And so thank you for coming. And this is sort of the image that I get left with. Thank you for coming, and as always, go Lopers.
Thank you, Chancellor. I kept looking for the picture of the dude who had jumped onto the bulldozer over by Otto Olson to begin to take that sucker down. I know who he was. I just didn't see the picture. But the last few years, that had become a money pit, and so it was time. All right. Second opportunity we have this morning is for a campus that many people are not really aware who they are, where they are, and that they are a very important part of the University of Nebraska. So our dean of the College of Technical Agriculture in Curtis, Nebraska, Larry Gosen, is here today to give us a little information about our 5th campus. Larry, welcome.
Thank you. Thank you, Regent Ferris and the other regents, President Carter, for inviting me over. It's a privilege for me to be here today as the Dean of the Nebraska College of Technical Agriculture. When I started my journey with the University of Nebraska, we were in the middle of the pandemic. I was privileged to walk into my office on June 15th, 2020. Think back to that day. Many offices across the state and nation were closed, and remote work was the only option. That fall, we were fortunate to be able to open our doors to 218 full-time students on a nearly normal campus, thanks primarily to the support of President Carter and Vice President Boehm, who encouraged us to be safe. In fact, we had several students added to our census that week, the first week of classes, because we were meeting face-to-face. With our heavy emphasis on experiential learning and hands-on coursework, we were able to maintain small class sizes, social distancing, and limited contact, and maintain a small, safe campus community. For those of you that have not had the privilege of traveling to Curtis, and I won't ask who has not, or visiting the beautiful NCTA campus, let me give you just a brief overview of who we are and what we have to offer. First, I hope you will see throughout this presentation how NCTA initiatives align very closely with the NU system 5-year strategy. The Nebraska College of Technical Agriculture is devoted to a statewide mission of preparing students for successful careers in agriculture, veterinary technology, and related industries. The college provides open access to innovative technical education, resulting in associate degrees, certificates, and other credentials. I summarize our mission statement this way. We have one mission, and that is student success. And this directly aligns with the university system 5-year strategy. We have both the Associate of Applied Science, or AAS degrees, as well as Associate of Science, or AS degrees, designed to transfer to 4-year institutions. Most majors have multiple options in which students can specialize in their program of study. Refer to the handouts that I gave you earlier this morning to see the complete list of the degrees and certificates. They should be inside the folder or with the folder. Agriculture Production Systems is our largest major. This major has the most options with 5 AAS and 4 AS options. Several areas of this major are where we are targeting specific recruitment efforts this coming year, because we need to meet the workforce demand that is there, and the huge labor market asks for more students than we can provide as workers. Our Veterinary Technology Systems AAS major has 5 options, is our next largest area of enrollment. We're fully accredited through the AVMA through as of the spring of 2021. We are in the process of recruiting a DVM to fill an open position in that department if you know any veterinarians that are looking to come teach in a beautiful small town community. The third major that we have with both an AAS and AS degree is in our Agribusiness Management Systems. This is our smallest major by enrollment, but our AMS program is intertwined as an integrated component of both of our APS and Vet Tech programs, so the enrollment is solid. We'll talk a little bit more about our options with Agribusiness in a few minutes. We also offer 10 4-credit certificates that provide foundational knowledge and specific skills related to a career field. Certificates are designed to be completed in 1 or 2 semesters, and they provide an opportunity for students to achieve a credential without earning a degree, or they can make that a part of a degree program by going on to take other courses. We've teamed with the Reinke Manufacturing Company in our irrigation technician program, which allows students to become certified through the Reinke Plus certification program, giving them a leg up when they go to work for Reinke. Combining this with our equipment management option allows students to complete their AAS degree. This is definitely one of the areas that we're focusing on additional recruitment efforts. Reinke will actually pay the students tuition and hire them when they come out with a job that pays a living wage. The real magic behind the success of our students is our dedicated and passionate faculty and staff. We currently have 13 full-time faculty, 4 temporary lecturers, along with 31 full-time staff members, all focused on student success, from recruitment to retention, graduation success, and career placement. Our fall 2020 student demographics look like this. We have 236 full-time on-campus students and 53 dual credit and 14 part-time students. We average 12 dual credit students per year that enroll in NCTA as first-time freshmen. This is the first time in my tenure we've actually surpassed the 300 total student mark. We're consistently 2/3 female, 1/3 male, with the largest number of those in the vet tech area. While our student body is primarily white Caucasian, we continue to work on recruiting a more diverse student, and we are making progress in that. Each year our numbers go up slightly. Almost 72% of our students come from Nebraska communities, but our enrollment now includes 77 students from 19 other states. The next map shows where those students come from. In 2017, the Board of Regents gave permission, and we started charging the same for out-of-state and non-resident tuition as we do in-state. And this chart on the lower right indicates that growth in those numbers. As you can see, our closest neighbors provide the largest number of students. We have 11 states that are represented by a single student, from Alaska to Vermont, down to Georgia and South Carolina. 8 states send us multiple students, and 10 students are from Colorado, and 24 come from that purple state south of us. Within Nebraska, we have students from 107 different communities, representing 66 counties. Grand Island, Lincoln, and North Platte send us the most students, with the majority of our students coming from 17 counties in the central and southwest part of the state, within 150 miles of Curtis. We're working to expand that reach, to reach some of those white, the non-colored counties there, that we can get some students back from those areas. Of our 236 full-time students, 164 currently live on campus in one of 3 residence halls. This is 69% of our student body, but we currently have a 91% room occupancy rate. Out of 106 possible rooms, we only have 16 open beds in 8 rooms. All the traditional West Boys Dorm residence hall, which is shown here on the lower right. Our graduates have successful careers. We're very proud of them. Approximately 20% of our students transfer to 4-year institutions. Some of those to UNK, most of them to UNL, and a lot of those go back out of state. We have a real effort to keep them in the university system. That's not our focus, though. Our students enter the workforce. And of those entering the workforce, nearly 100% go back either in their field of study or a very closely related field. Many of our graduates may go back home to the family farm or ranch. We also managed to keep many of our out-of-state students and make them new Nebraskans. Taylor from Colorado is working at a bank in Gothenburg. Jillian from Alaska is working in an agribusiness company in Culbertson. Christopher's parents from California are actually looking at moving back to Nebraska before he graduates. The best thing our graduates do is make great alumni that are highly connected and passionate. Our alumni serve as our best recruiters year after year. Steve Wellman, director of Nebraska Department of Agriculture, is an NCTA alum. In the past 2 years, we have accomplished a lot. While there is still a lot more to do, here are some of the highlights. We passed our HLC Higher Learning Commission accreditation with flying colors, and we remain a fully accredited institution, in large part because of the hard work of that faculty and staff. This excerpt from the HLC accreditation report states the following, and I think the key points that are highlighted. Although NCTA is geographically isolated, the partnership with UNL provides a tremendous amount of support. They also nailed this point. Students, faculty, staff, alumni, and many others across the state of Nebraska are passionate about NCTA. And then their final statement gives us the impetus to move forward. The institution is well suited to become a more relevant and greater institution in southwestern Nebraska, for many years to come. This is exactly what we intend to do. We developed a 10-year strategic enrollment plan and focused on both recruitment and retention with the goal of doubling our full-time enrollment by 2030. We've upgraded our technology across campus. Just a few examples in vet tech. We've added a Class 2 biohazard hood, allowing us to safely evaluate hazardous samples. We've upgraded our radiography machines, added multiple life-size and lifelike canine models. In ag mechanics, we've added a robotic welder, a couple of continuum welders, and we just received an industrial plasma cutting table as a donation from one of our alumni and a very active foundation that supports us. In our animal science area, we have a full-size horse and cow models, and that cow actually has the ability to give birth. It gives our students a chance to work on models before they go out to the real field to see this done in hands-on in real life. We took a long campus with a long list of deferred maintenance needs. Those include a $2.1 million steam tunnel. We replaced roofs on all the residence halls. We've upgraded our landscaping and multiple campus beautification projects. And we're extremely grateful to the university for the LB 384 money for the deferred maintenance of our campus. We are receiving money that we're going to put towards a high priority items, many of which focus on safety issues or in which positively impact student success. We're going to start with resurfacing and repairing several roads. You can lose a car in the potholes in our road up the hill. We can upgrade lighting and signage across campus to provide some additional safety for our students as they walk across campus at night. Begin addressing ADA accessibility and sidewalks. We are built on a hill. We renovate the Resource Learning Center, which is, better give you those, which is one of the oldest buildings on campus. It was built as a shop and a laboratory when we first built the buildings in 1913. We've upgraded the electrical service and continue to in welding and ag mechanics buildings. We have repairs to the agronomy greenhouse, improving our lighting, cooling, and accessibility. And then we're updating the lighting and ventilation in the livestock training teaching center, which is our animal science arena. That is our largest classroom on campus. We also received a very generous gift since I've been there from David and the late Sandy Scholes of 2,100 acre ranch in Hays County, approximately 20 miles west of campus. It's valued at $1.5 million. And the Frank and Mabel Lou Memorial Ranch, named after Sandy's grandparents, has been a game changer to enhance the experiential learning opportunities for our students and is the hallmark of NCTA education and aligns again with the university priority. I can honestly say that NCTA has so many benefits because of our close relationship with IANR and the fact that Dr. Bain wears two hats for the university. We just don't have the resources available to manage many of the day-to-day needs of a small campus. Having access to IANR human resources personnel, the Greater Nebraska Business Office, One IT, and financial aid personnel makes so many things possible. Besides those connections, there are even more opportunities that we are engaging in. One is we have a very close relationship with West Central Research Extension and, as of today, Education Center in North Platte. We have access through them with their research and resources, facilities, technology, extension educators. We also access the Goodmanson Sandhill Laboratory and the Stump International Research Center, which our students have already been out this spring or this fall taking soil samples and preparing some decisions on some test plots. We have a very close relationship with the College of Agricultural Sciences and Natural Resources at UNL. Working with Dr. Tiffany Hingmoss has been priceless in navigating several opportunities for partnering. We've updated a reverse articulation agreement. We have an opportunity for NCTA students to earn their BS degree online while remaining in Curtis. We are utilizing internships and experiential learning. We are working on several grants related to meat science and workforce development and safe animal handling practices that will include Kasner faculty and facilities. The connection to UNL has been a huge benefit for our student success programming. Being a charter member of the Northeast Nebraska Ag and Natural Resources Education Compact is also a cornerstone of our program. We connect across the state in partnership with secondary and post-secondary institutions to serve the educational needs of the diverse learners in Northeast Nebraska. We work closely with the Nebraska FFA Association. We provide technical training for agriculture instructors through the summer. We had a summer boot camp where we provided the technical agriculture training that they needed to go back and teach that in their classroom. We also offer several FFA competitions and leadership events on campus. And actually, discussions started in June with the University of Nebraska-Kearney and Dr. Charlie Bicek before he left, and Peter Longo, and they will continue in October. In fact, next Friday we have a meeting with Tim Jarris and several others from the University of Nebraska-Kearney. So looking forward to having some of you on campus. For partnering our agribusiness program with their business program. We're also discussing ways to partner in the residence life programs as well. I can honestly say, though, that the most exciting thing that's happened in my 2 years is a very generous gift of $6 million from an amazing donor for a major improvement to our campus that will be transformational in our ability to recruit and retain students, as well as meet our mission of student success. The gift provides a dollar-for-dollar match to build a $12 million student success and activity center, which will allow us to address the achievement gap in Nebraska by helping us recruit a more diverse student population, relocate our dining services from the basement of an old East traditional residence hall that is closed to students. The only thing in that building is the cafeteria. If you've ever eaten in our cafeteria, you'll know why we need to move that cafeteria. Either relocate our fitness center or create other engagement activities in this new space, create a true student union and tutoring center, study rooms, activity spaces for students to gather, collaborate, and engage, and provide a space for community gatherings, events, and activities. This is a picture of the barn. That's what we call our student union. This is the old high school gymnasium. NCTA used to be a regional high school, built as a high school in 1913. This was the fourth building built on campus, and it's an old, tired building, but it is built as solid as a rock. That's our current student center. Now, this is the back side of the building, so I did give you the worst case scenario view, but I want you to see what people see when they come into our campus and park on our main parking lot. That is the view of the student center. Not very appealing, similar to what UNK had to show earlier. It was usually used for basketball and volleyball until the early 2010s when we discontinued our athletic program. By moving that space, I'd moved around to the right, and this is the scene we'd get from the actual parking lot. This is the space that we are expanding to add these new components. We're able to save money by maintaining the integrity and character of a historic building. But now I want you to hear from two of our students. These two students represent the reason we do what we do. First is Maddie Carr, NCTA 2022 Aggie of the Year. She works on the ranch crew. She's a member of the shooting sports team. In fact, they are heading to Lincoln this afternoon for a shooting sports event. She's an agriculture production systems major with an AAS animal science option. She's from North Platte, Nebraska. The second is Tanner Ostrander. He's our 2022-23 Student Senate President. He's an agriculture production systems major with an AS animal science option designed to transfer to UNL next fall, and he is from Ogallala. So let me turn this over to them. Come on up.
I just want to thank Dr. Gosen for giving me the opportunity to be here today. A little about me, like he said, I'm from North Platte, and it's my third year at NCTA. I ended up switching my majors from vet tech to animal science. I switched my majors because I wanted a more production outlook rather than being in a clinic. So I chose NCTA because of the feel of being welcomed. I like the personality of all the professors on campus. And I like a small community. Again, I'm from North Platte. I'm from rural North Platte, I guess Sand Hills. And so being on one-on-one with all my professors was definitely important for me. And so I thought NCTA was perfect. So the first time I came to FFA or NCTA was during FFA. And excuse me. Okay, I'm sorry. Like he said, I was involved in shooting sports. I'm on the ranch crew. I'm also an ambassador for the college. And find my notes. Okay. So on the ranch crew, we do day-to-day hands-on tasks that make day-to-day life easier for us ranch kids. Examples would be maintaining and building fences, working with cattle, running a variety of equipment, putting up hay and alfalfa, help create feed diets for our feedlot cattle as well as our range cattle. Participate in harvest. Something fun I got to do this past harvest season was run a combine. I'm not a farm kid, I'm a ranch kid. There's a difference, so that was something new. And now I feel like I can drive like anything everywhere. Over this summer, we spent lots of hours out at the Lou Ranch. I like my horses and I like my cattle, so definitely where I want to be. We spent a lot of time on horseback, doctoring cattle. We had a little issue with foot rot, it being so dry, and then they would step in any sort of water and it would create foot rot. So roping and doctoring, making sure those cattle are healthy, was definitely a bonus. Checking pastures, so I'm taking a range class at the moment that we actually get to go out there and evaluate the range and look at the different types of grasses, and so having the Lou Ranch really benefits classes like that. So I know a couple other things that the Lou Ranch helps benefit us is our beef classes. So we have cattle out there, and we get to learn our salt and mineral usage, health evaluations, like I mentioned, grazing, and it's beautiful country out there. You'll never see a more beautiful country on a horse when the sun's coming up at 5:30 in the morning. That's something that not a lot of people get to see, and so it's a great opportunity. So I wanted to finish up here. Again, my name's Maddie Carr, and I would like to thank each and every one of you for supporting us and giving us the opportunity to have a successful future.
Hello, as Dr. Gosen stated, my name is Tanner Ostrander. I'm currently a second-year student and will graduate this fall in December. After graduation, my plan is to go to pre-veterinary school at the University of Lincoln and move on to vet school from there. Fingers crossed. I would love to specialize in reproduction of large animals, such as artificial insemination and embryo transfers. This wouldn't have been possible without my studies at NCTA. I decided to go to NCTA at the very last minute. I was ranching in the beautiful Colorado Rockies, and I absolutely loved it there. I was planning on staying there until my stepdad told me that I needed to attend college. I first went to the University of Wyoming in Laramie, and it wasn't a very good fit for me. It was during the peak of COVID, and it wasn't a very good college experience. I had been to Curtis multiple times through FFA, and so 2 weeks before classes started at NCTA, I decided to sign right up. And looking back now, I wouldn't change a thing. NCTA is much more than just your regular college. Even though it is small, has amazing qualities that big universities would love to have. One of my favorite parts about the NCTA is the student-faculty relationships. I like how you can get to know just about anyone on campus at a personal level. and each person is able to help your individual needs. Another thing I love about NCTA is the quality of the professors in their classes. I learn a lot in each class I go to, and a lot of it is hands-on, whether it's going to look at the corn or the cows. Currently, I'm the president of Student Senate, and last year I was an officer in the Agribusiness group, and I went to every Student Senate meeting from there on, and I was voted vice president last year. Most importantly, NCTA wouldn't be possible without your guys' support. We appreciate all the time and effort you put into the university because of you, we were able to have a great place for all people. We thank everyone here for their support and interest in students at NCTA.
So you can see we're very proud of our students, and they represent our student body very, very well. This is our campus, Ag Hall. It's not unusual to see horses right down the street every day, especially once the ranch horse team gets fired up and they're moving their horses from the stables over to the arena. So we're very, very proud of our campus, and we would love to extend an invitation to the Board of Regents to come out and visit and hold a meeting on our campus whenever it works for you and you can manage to fit it into your schedule. I know you are set for a while, but we'd sure love to have you come visit Curtis. I thank you again for the opportunity to share a little about NCTA, and I'm happy to answer any questions that you may have. But thank you for letting us be here to represent us.
All right, thank you very much for being here today, Larry and Maddie and Taylor. We just appreciate what's going on at NCTA and what we're producing. At the beginning of each of our Board of Regents meetings, we take a little time to recognize those people who all too often don't get the recognition that they deserve. The Board of Regents believes that it's important that we acknowledge our employees' commitments as well as their contributions to our university. Who've been nominated by either a supervisor or a peer, excuse me, is an honor in and of itself. As the Kudos recipients are announced, please come to the podium, join the regent who will be making the presentation. Following each presentation, we'll take a picture that will appear on our website. President Carter, the chancellor of your specific university campus, your family, if they're here, and other supporters are invited to come and join you for the picture. Got plenty of room up here. And our first recipient today comes from, guess where? The University of Nebraska at Kearney. Steve Grimsley is the recipient, and the award is presented by Regent Sadi.
The Board of Regents is pleased to recognize Stephen Grimsley, Office Associate in UNK's Division of Facilities Management and Planning. Originally from Perry, Iowa, and holding an associate degree in accounting from Nebraska College of Business, Steve became part of the UNK community less than 2 years ago in December 2020, bringing with him 35 years in retail management with companies such as Walmart, Office Depot, and Hobby Lobby. His impact on colleagues in his division and throughout campus has been highly positive, and whose supervisor, business manager Megan Telesky, says his list of responsibilities doesn't do justice to what he does on a day-to-day basis. Steve always has a smile on his face, she continues, and is willing to help anyone in any way that he can. He has a positive attitude in all situations and continually goes above and beyond. That list of responsibilities includes operating the facilities service desk and providing customer service to departments, students, and sometimes to parents, processing work requests into work orders, data maintenance, scheduling van rentals and maintaining mileage logs for facilities vehicles, performing campus quality assurance checks, assisting managers, supervisors, and techs as needed, and scheduling and monitoring staff safety training. Steve is also a member of the UNK Sustainability Committee. Restructuring the facilities help desk, updating building maps, and setting up QR codes on specific facilities equipment are some of the accomplishments of which he is most proud. Colleagues also credit his work with turnaround management schedules, his screening of more than 31,000 work requests in his 2 years at UNK, and now assisting with the transition to a preventative maintenance schedule to reduce reactive maintenance. With Steve today is his wife of 39 years, Judy, their 3 daughters and son-in-laws, Mark and Amanda, Alyssa and Eric, and Jenna and Jonathan, and their 9 grandchildren.
Oh, wonderful.
God has prepared me for this outstanding position, Steve says. This is a job that I enjoy coming to and learning from each day. Our congratulations to Stephen Grimsley. His outstanding performance and his commitment to his work and to those he serves have earned him this recognition. Congratulations.
Come right on ahead, family. We've got wide-angle cameras up here. Congratulations, Steve. Our next Kudos Award will be presented by Regent Drake. It goes to the University Dining Services at UNL.
The Board of Regents is pleased to present a Kudos Award to University Dining Services, led by David Annis at the University of Nebraska-Lincoln. The past few years have offered unprecedented challenges for the university, and the often unsung heroes behind the scenes are our dining staff members. They continued working as essential employees when the university was temporarily closed and made rapid adjustments throughout the COVID response period to accommodate the variety of student and campus needs. Many have had to work extra shifts for extended periods of time, yet they've pulled together and represent the best of what we know Nebraska to be, a hardworking, friendly, and caring community. Pivoting to meet the changing requirements of the health department and personal interactions, dining services shifted from a focus on eat-in options to increase interaction and belonging to developing easy-to-heat homemade meals and delivery services for isolation housing. At its peak, they prepared and delivered nearly 7,500 meals for over 530 students. At the same time, Dining Services launched a mobile ordering app, one of my personal favorites. Since its launch in fall 2020, nearly 17,000 users have downloaded the app to place meal orders, and this past spring, app orders make up nearly 34% of total dining sales. University Dining Services is revolutionizing food options and operations across UNM, and they've continued to do so despite hiring challenges in the industry and the current economic market. As team members push the boundaries of time and service, they continually increase students' expectations with each positive interaction. Joining Dave today is Pam Edwards, Assistant Director for Dining Services, Rebecca Wood, Assistant Director for Dining Retail, and Wahadi Allen, Executive Chef or Dining and Catering Services. Please join me in thanking University Dining Services for their dedication to the University of Nebraska-Lincoln.
Congratulations to the University Dining Services team. Our next Kudos Award will be presented by Regent Kent, and the award goes to Tara Rudbush of the University of Nebraska Medical Center. There she is.
On behalf of the Board of Regents, I am pleased to present a Kudos Award to Tara Rudebush, Laboratory Manager and Researcher at the UNMC Department of Cellular and Integrative Physiology. Tara has worked at UNMC for more than 20 years and currently provides vital intellectual and technical support for at least 3 investigators, all funded by the National Institutes of Health. Tara's genetic expertise is indispensable in support of these projects. Thanks to her efforts and innovative ideas, new strategies have emerged to evaluate the role of oxidative stress in animals with chronic heart failure. And validation of her work has resulted in co-authorship on 6 major papers in outstanding journals and presentations at national meetings. Tara's supervisor, a longtime researcher himself, described her as a tireless teacher and praised her compassion and understanding. She values constructive criticism, he said, and in the spirit of making science as good as it can be, and noted that her deep knowledge of regulatory procedures is critical to the success of the research. As laboratory manager, she also assists with the regulatory documents needed to carry out the research. This is a huge help to primary investigators, and, her supervisor noted, she has been one of the few in his 50-plus years in research that can carry this task out with little supervision. Please join me in thanking Tara for her dedicated work to advancing science, her exemplary knowledge of regulatory procedures, and her commitment and compassion towards UNMC and her colleagues.
Congratulations, Tara. Karima Goodman from the University of Nebraska, Omaha is our final recipient today, and her award will be presented by Regent Sims.
The Nebraska Board of Regents is proud to present a Kudos Award to Karima Goodman, who supports the UNO Department of Teacher Education as an administrative assistant. Karima was roundly celebrated by her peers in her nomination, with many calling out her ability to go above and beyond her duties, her inclusiveness, her willingness to share institutional knowledge with others, and her problem-solving abilities. Among the many tasks Karima is responsible for in her role include processing travel requests, budget management, hiring, training, and course scheduling. But beyond that, Karima has been noted as stepping up to fill in gaps when needed. Karima is creative in producing ways to support our faculty and their needs with travel and other assistance, one nominator says. She often has other assistants in our college sitting at her desk learning a new system to support their departments, and she is always willing to learn how to take part in various trainings throughout the year that expand her knowledge of new systems. As a constant learner, Karima is also someone who challenges conventions in a thoughtful and respectful manner, according to another nominator. Karima is willing to pose thoughtful questions, ones that stimulate discussions in the department and help to improve the processes and programs she supports. Many of her tasks require strong relationship building and coordinating among multiple stakeholders, which one nominator says Karima handles with care and intentionality. She is always respectful, patient, and kind. She will stop her work to focus on your question and issue. When I have a question and I'm not sure who to ask, I often start with Karima. A common theme among her nominators was that the Department of Teacher Education simply couldn't run without Karima's efforts, and that she is the gold standard. She makes all of us turn in every single form, and she also takes the time to teach us how to work out systems that many times look very complicated, a nominator said. I don't know what Karima did to survive during COVID with all the moving pieces. I really hope she never leaves us. For her commitment to her peers, her focus on student success, and her willingness to always learn and grow, among other qualities, Karima Goodman has shown true maverick spirit, is a vital member of the University of Nebraska system, and is deserving of the recognition of this award.
Congratulations, Karima. While our Kudos guests are more than welcome to stay and observe the balance of our fascinating and interesting business meeting, if you do wish to leave, we'll certainly take no offense. And this is a good opportunity for you to slip out the door while we're moving forward. Thank you for joining us today, and thank you for all the award recipients' contributions to our university. We have an item on our agenda each time that we meet for resolutions and for public hearings. Sometimes there are none, and usually my colleagues applaud when there are none, but that's the situation that we're in today. So that moves me along to President Carter and some fascinating remarks that he has for us. There's a challenge.
Thank you, Chairman Ferris. Good morning, everybody. It's great to be here at the University of Nebraska at Kearney. I want to say a particular thank you to Chancellor Christensen for hosting us. Fantastic presentations, and to Dean Larry Gosen for his presentation. It's really refreshing to hear what's going on in Curtis and here at Kearney. And I think it's really valuable for our board members to hear that as well. We have all of our chancellors here today, and I want to say thank you for all of them being here. And I want to also give a special shout out to Dr. Jeffrey Gold, the American College of Surgeons, the Academy of Master Surgeon Educators is one of the highest awards I think Jeff's ever gotten in his career, and that's saying quite a bit. Since we're here at UNK, I thought I would follow Doug's comments with a few remarks about our hosts, the Lopers. This has been a great opportunity to tour the campus and meet with the students, faculty, and staff who are doing great work here. Kearney will always hold a special place in my heart. It's the first place I visited when I was nominated for this position, and I love coming back here every time. When we say that students come first at the University of Nebraska, you really see that come to life here at UNK. UNK is a place where students from all across the state and region can come and find the highest quality academic programs taught by world-class faculty in world-class facilities, all while being on campus that feels like a second home, with faculty and staff who truly care about their students and their success. We saw firsthand yesterday in the student presentation, students who are going to take their UNK education and accomplish great things in the future. They're getting that education at one of the best values you can find anywhere in the country. We've talked about how there's a lot of national dialogue these days about the costs of higher education and student debt, but here at the University of Nebraska, and certainly at UNK, affordability and access are central to our mission. The new Nebraskan program, innovative program launched by Chancellor Christensen to attract new talent to our state. We're really pleased with the early returns on that, and we're seeing what's coming from that effort. Use of free or low-cost course materials in place of costly textbooks. I can't think of a better time to share with our board that across the entire NU system, we just recently hit our goal of saving students $10 million on textbook costs, an effort that was piloted right here at UNK back in 2015. This work is now happening across the entire system thanks to a team of committed faculty and staff, and we are proud to have hit that milestone ahead of schedule. The application waiver period We announced that it was ending today, but I'm announcing right now that we're going to extend that for the entire month of October. So that's a little bit of breaking news, and all the chancellors have bought into that. So for anybody that hasn't applied yet, you've just been given an extension, so please get those applications, and it won't cost you a penny. As we've heard from Chancellor Christensen and saw in the video that he showed, this is an exciting period of physical growth for the campus, moving forward with the new rural health facility, regional engagement center, student spaces, and Greek housing, with more to come. UNK is a true hub for education and economic growth in rural Nebraska, vital to the overall success of our state. This is a special time to be a Loper. And these things don't just happen by magic. They are the result of great leadership. And we have the very best in Chancellor Christensen. We're fortunate to have him at the helm in Kearney, and I'm just thrilled that he's still here and doing great. So, Doug, congratulations on all you've done. Let's give Doug just another round of applause. Anyway, there's a lot of conversation happening around the nation about the value of higher education. So to anybody wondering, is college worth it? What I would say is come to our campuses. That's where you'll find the value. Visit UNO, visit UNL, visit NCTA that Dean Gosen just updated us on and invited everybody to come out and visit him. Or come to UNK and see what it's all about. I think you'll find there's a place for you right here, where you can get an outstanding education at an affordable cost, where you'll get real-world learning experiences that will prepare you not only to have a great career, but to be an engaged, thoughtful citizen. That's what we do here. And if the students we've met are any indication, to include the 4 student regents sitting around the table with us here today, then I think we're doing a pretty good job, something this board should be very proud of. Doug, thank you again for being such a gracious host. Thank you to everybody coming here, especially the faculty and staff that joined us here today. And now I will turn it back over to Chairman Ferris.
Thank you, President Carter. We're delighted to have been here, as Ted indicated, and we really have had a great time. The standing rules of the board provide that any person or persons may appear and address the board on items that are not on the agenda for today's meeting. That's providing that the individual gives us 24 hours notice to the corporate secretary's office. Each person wishing to speak is given 3 minutes to make their remarks. We were contacted by 2 people who wish to speak on a topic that is not on our agenda today. So as we call your name, please come forward, identify yourself, complete the sign-in sheet if you've not yet done so. William Aviles? Avelis? Avelis?
I'll take that. No, thank you
All
very
right.
much. Good morning, board. My name is Will Aviles. I'm a professor here in the Department of Political Science. I'm also the president of UNKEA, which is UNK's faculty union. I'm speaking to you today to discuss the salaries of UNK employees, specifically the stagnant, below cost of living raises that we have received in terms of faculty, and often the lack of any raise for members of UNK's staff over the past 5 years. In the past 5 years, the vast majority of UNK's full-time faculty have received average raises of 1.1%. While last year and this year, you all would only approve faculty raises of 0.65% for the vast majority of our faculty. At the same time, members of our staff in the past 5 years have gone years sometimes without a single raise. This is taking place at the same time as members of our upper administration have received average raises of 2 to over 5%, with one member of the Chancellor's cabinet receiving a 9.5% raise for 22-23. And you all made sure that all our deans and senior vice chancellors would receive at least a 3% raise for 22-23. In effect, for years, you have cut the wages for the vast majority of UNK employees, given the below cost of living increases we have received. We are concerned that you will continue this trend despite our inflationary economy. When the US government's inflation figure for August, the Consumer Price Index, pointed to prices rising by 8.3% from the previous year. The continuation of your approach to raises and salaries is damaging the ability of UNK to retain its faculty and staff and harms our ability to compete for new talent. For example, 74 full-time faculty members have voluntarily left UNK in the past 5 years. While some of those who have remained have had to supplement their income by taking on other jobs, I asked my members to give me any kind of experience they've had regarding their salaries and difficulties. I've had one member inform me that early on in their career, they periodically had to utilize a food bank. Not only have we lost faculty to other institutions of higher learning, but our faculty with educational certificates to teach at the K through 12 level can often earn more money working for Lincoln or Kearney public schools that they can have here at UNK. While staff members, such as office associates, are given immense responsibilities in helping to manage thousands of dollars in departmental budgets, they could easily find work that pays equal, if not better, at Target or Hy-Vee. There's no doubt that faculty and staff morale is affected by this reality, and of course, this also damages the education that our students receive. I find it ironic that the faculty and staff at UNK, who provide the best education for undergraduate students in this state, not only make substantially less than our colleagues at UNO and UNL, but the board has also chosen not to raise our salaries in line with cost of living. Losing faculty to competing institutions and difficulties in hiring support staff only adds to the burdens that faculty have to take on, taking us away from our central mission to providing an excellent educational experience for our students. UNKEA urges the board to establish a new trend, one where the faculty and staff at UNK receive raises that are in line with inflation, raises that demonstrate the board's support in helping UNK continue the high level of excellence that we have maintained for so long. Thank you.
Thank you for coming. Mr. Greg App, are you present today? Here you are.
My concern today is in regard to NSITE, the UNO National Counterterrorism Center, which on September 20th, that was just last week, held a webinar on the threat of electoral violence. What bothers me is the completely biased approach to these subjects and the lack of balanced input. Dr. Pete Simi, a sociologist from Chapman University and a guest presenter, stated, quote, "These threats should be seen as part of a larger mosaic where a certain type of political contagion is spreading that is actually an interwoven and ongoing effort to essentially dismantle the democracy as we know it. This means less people voting, fewer personal rights, little to no separation of church and state, severe restrictions on reading material, and other educational efforts to teach accurate versions of U.S. history. This is the current crisis we face, and the threat to elections are the center of this crisis," unquote. Let me unpack a couple items. Little to no separation of church and state. He doesn't have a clue of the origin or the meaning of separation of church and state. And I'm sorry, but he completely missed the mark here. And the severe restrictions on reading material, parents don't want their children exposed to sexually explicit material or sexually abusive material. The presenters seem to have blinders on, in my opinion, and I can only talk about their ideology. What about the aggression they don't talk about that comes out of Joe Biden's mouth, who recently said this MAGA movement is the most dangerous political movement in American history? And a year ago, Biden said, quote, "Terrorism from a white supremacist is the most lethal threat to the homeland today, not ISIS, not Al-Qaeda, white supremacists."
1 minute.
I find it interesting that the presenters over and over use the word democracy, saying extremists want to take over our democracy. We're not a democracy. We are a constitutional republic. A democracy is the will of the majority outside of checks and balances. John Adams said, quote, "Democracies never last long. It soon wastes, exhausts, and murders itself. There never was a democracy yet that did not commit suicide. A republic differs in that the general population elects representatives who pass laws to govern the nation." The presenter said, "We need more civic education." While they are right, the shoe is on the wrong foot. They need better civic education, and your students deserve to hear the other side. Thank you, and does anybody have a question for me? All right.
The standing rules of our board also provide that anyone who wants to speak on an item that is on the agenda for this meeting, regardless of advance notice, may do so. So if there is anyone who would like to address the board on a topic that is part of today's agenda that we will consider shortly, please come forward, identify yourself, and complete the sign-in sheet before you leave. You'll have 3 minutes to address the board.
Good morning. I am David Fulton from Pleasanton, Nebraska. I graduated from Curtis with an associate's degree in ag business, and I eventually went on to earn my bachelor's degree in business administration. I currently serve as president of the UNSTA NCTA Alumni Association. My professional career has been spent primarily as an ag and small town lender. My comment is in regard to the university administrative agenda, specifically item B6. I have served over 27 years as a volunteer firefighter, EMT, and nationally registered first responder, having answered over 800 calls so far in my career. My comment is this: I have never seen anything positive come out of a bottle or can of alcohol. University administration, staff, and especially security will all find themselves dealing with many negative consequences should you approve that item. For proof, just ask any of us who attended the Garth Brooks concert in Memorial Stadium last year. It wasn't a pretty picture. I was very glad that we had chosen not to take any of our grandchildren to that concert. Adding alcohol to university events will make them much, much less family friendly. Thank you for hearing my comments. I can provide you with a written copy if desired, and I will answer any questions for you if you have them of me at this time. Thank you.
As you're completing our sign-in sheet, I would also tell the board that we do have written testimony which was received from a Chris Wagner regarding alcohol sales at Husker men and women's basketball game. So that written commentary will be distributed to each of you. Okay, now it's time for us to consider our consent agenda. The consent agenda, as it's indicated by its name, is moved and voted on as a group of items, as opposed to the administrative agenda where we look at things individually. With that said, unless one of my colleagues on the board wishes to consider any of these items on the administrative agenda, I would invite a motion to approve the consent agenda as it is printed.
So moved.
Second.
Motion and a second. We really didn't, I guess, ask you if there was anything you wanted to drop from the item, but that would be appropriate comment before we call the roll. Get the cart in front of the horse here. Okay, let's call the roll, please.
Regent Sadi.
Yes.
Regent Sims.
Yes.
Regent Drake.
Yes.
Regent Kent.
Yes.
Regent O'Connor.
Yes.
Regent Ferris.
Yes.
Regent Pillen.
Yes.
Regent Schaefer.
Yes.
Regent Stark.
Yes.
Regent Clare.
Yes.
Regent Kinney.
Yes.
The motion passes.
All right, I declare that the consent agenda has then been moved on forward, and I would like the president to guide us through the administrative items on today's agenda. Ed?
Thank you. Item 11B1 seeks the board's approval to amend the construction manager at risk contract to a guaranteed maximum price contract for the Calvin T. Ryan Library renovation project at UNK. Following a competitive qualifications-based selection process conducted in accordance with Regents policy, MCL Construction is recommended for this contract. This item has been reviewed by the Business and Finance Committee, and I recommend it to you for your approval.
Is there a motion to approve item 11B1?
So moved.
Second.
Second, who is the second?
Drake.
Okay. We have then a motion and a second. If you call the roll, please. Unless there's any discussion. I didn't think so.
Regent Sims.
Yes.
Regent Drake.
Yes.
Regent Kent.
Yes.
Regent Sadi.
Yes.
Regent Ferris.
Yes.
Regent Pillen.
Yes.
Regent Schaefer.
Yes.
Regent Stark.
Yes.
Regent Clare.
Yes.
Regent Kenny.
Yes.
Regent O'Connor.
Yes.
The motion passes.
Unless there's an objection, I recommend items 11B2 and 11B3 be considered together. These items relate to the Warner Hall renovation project at UNK, another LB 384 deferred maintenance project. Item 11B2 seeks a budget increase from $5.1 million to $6.5 million, necessitated by inflation and market factors. Item 11B3 seeks to award the construction contract to Central Contracting Corporation for $5.88 million. Central is recommended for selection following a public bid process in which they were the responsible low bidder. This item was reviewed by the Business and Finance Committee, and I recommend it to you for your approval.
So moved.
Do we have a motion?
So moved.
Second.
Motion and a second. Any discussion?
Continued.
Any comments?
Continued congratulations to Chris Gaborik and his team and everybody at Warner Hall for putting the LB 384 project together in connection with Senator Stinner and the legislature. This is, again, another huge savings for the benefit of the university and the state, and it really illustrates good stewardness of the facilities that we have on our various campuses.
Any other comments or discussion? I think they're ready for the roll call.
Regent Drake.
Yes.
Regent Kent.
Yes.
Regent Sadi.
Yes.
Regent Sims.
Yes.
Regent Pillen.
Yes.
Regent Schaefer.
Yes.
Regent Stark.
Yes.
Regent Clare.
Yes.
Regent Kenny.
Yes.
Regent O'Connor.
Yes.
Regent Ferris.
Yes.
The motion passes.
Item 11B4 seeks approval to amend the university's master lease agreement with the University Village Development Corporation of Kearney to add approximately 252 acres of farmland currently held by the Board of Regents and located about 1 mile west of us to the UVDC's development. As you may recall, in April 2015, the board approved the creation of UVDC, a wholly owned subsidiary of the university, to assist the board in the development and operation of a mixed-use development project known as University Village. Subsequently, in October 2019, the board approved a master lease with UVDC to further development of the project. This is a natural growth of the success we observed during yesterday's driving tour. This item was reviewed by the Business and Finance Committee, and I recommend it to you for your approval.
Is there a motion to approve this item?
I'll make it motion.
Second.
Second. It's moved and seconded. Any discussion or commentary?
I'd like to have Chancellor Christensen share his thoughts and comments and what his vision for this property going forward.
Thank you, Regent Schaefer. Obviously, this is an addition to a successful project of a development corporation. This is adding 252 acres onto our existing property. We have a company by the name of 5X Partners, who's a very entrepreneurial data hotel and data center. They've approached us for building a substantial facility in this area. They had looked at University Village. It wasn't large enough for what we wanted to do. This is a very unique opportunity for the campus, the community, and the region in terms of access to high-speed, non-latency internet connections. And so this is probably a little ahead of the time that we anticipated bringing this sort of thing to the board, but this is a very unique opportunity. We've had other businesses who have inquired about this that are similar clearly 5X was the class of the group. And so what we would like to do, there's some urgency here. We needed power. NPPD has been an extremely cooperative partner. They are willing to bring the needed power into this. We will have no exposure in terms of building the facilities that are out there. This will be the expense of 5X. And it also gives us consideration of a 2 3/4 megawatt solar array farm that would be out in that facility as well. So a lot of substantially great things for us in the future. This is a necessary step to be able to be nimble, to negotiate, and to do those things that we've been doing in University Village, now just on a larger scale.
Can you share a little bit about how this will intertwine with the operations of the university and the opportunities it presents our faculty, staff, and especially our students?
So, for example, the ability with the rural health facility, if we're going to begin to bring out telemedicine to rural Nebraska and use this as the hub, you don't want to have surgery that has latency. In other words, a delay. So if somebody's helping with a procedure, let's say in Valentine, from here, you don't want the surgeon up in Valentine to be making a cut and all of a sudden the physician here go, whoop, don't do that, because there's a second delay. If you're going to have driverless vehicles on Interstate 80, you can't have a second delay of latency when somebody cuts in front of you or you need to make an emergency move. That all requires very sophisticated, high-quality things. That's what we're going to be able to do to bring to rural Nebraska is non-latency direct access into the internet. That helps us here with opportunities for our students from cyber operations, cybersecurity. It helps a number of research projects that'll be here on campus and our faculty attraction.
Lastly, can you tie that into agriculture? How that's going to change things here in greater Nebraska?
Well, I mean, the great part about the university is the cooperation between the campuses. You know, the Institute of Agriculture is a state resource. They're really good. The ability for them to take their applied research and science and discovery, their faculty, and apply them out here with those tools is a big step forward. And so, you know, the campuses cooperate and collaborate very well. You see that with us and UNMC. I think you'll see that with us and the Institute as well.
I think you missed maybe a little bit of my point is, can you tie that maybe back to the producers here in Nebraska?
Well, obviously,
the farmers and ranchers.
Sure.
Especially.
Obviously, the future of this is that there aren't more and more people coming into agriculture to work. At least in the farm I grew up in, they're not faced with an overabundance of workers. You're going to have to become more technology based. You're going to have more innovations, whether it's in irrigation, crop production, harvest, and so on. You're going to need this sort of internet access and this sort of tool and resource to be the producer of the future. And I see no other way to do it.
Thank you.
Other questions, comments? All right. Let's call the roll, please.
Regent Kent,
Yes.
Regent Sadi,
Yes.
Regent Sims,
Yes.
Regent Drake,
Yes.
Regent Schaefer,
Yes.
Regent Stark,
Yes.
Regent Clare,
Yes.
Regent Kenny,
Yes.
Regent O'Connor,
Yes.
Regent Ferris,
Yes.
Regent Pillen.
Yes.
The motion passes.
Item 11B5 seeks your approval of a 15-year agreement with Playfly Sports Properties to outsource multimedia rights work for Husker athletics. In short, this returns us to a model of having an external multimedia rights partner. The agreement is significant, with a potential value of over $300 million. I want to commend athletics, legal, business, and finance for working incredibly hard to ensure this is an excellent long-term deal for our student athletes, fans, and the university. This item was reviewed by the Business and Finance Committee, and I recommend it to you for your approval.
Is there a motion to approve?
So moved.
Second.
Schaefer and Claire. Any discussion? Jim?
I have one comment in regard to it. I think, we changed course a couple of years ago with the pandemic and the multimedia group there. Contract went null and void and all the guarantees went away. The guarantees are really attractive. And so taking it in-house made a lot of sense. And personally, I've really struggled with not having it in-house. But probably two things gets me over the hump. One would be the ability to more fully engage all Nebraskans across the planet, if you will, than our ability to do that in-house. And then I think the other in the negotiations of this contract, 15 years is a long time, technological advancements, so this contract having a 7-year look-in is really, really important. I'm able to vote for it because of that.
Comment. I would like to second Jim's comments. I do have some concerns about the length of that contract.
Okay, other comments?
I think this is another opportunity where the athletic department actually is going to continue to operate in the black. And for many people in the state, they don't realize that our athletic department, at least at the Lincoln campus, actually funds a portion of what goes on the academic side of the house. And too often people forget that. And I know, sometimes we catch a lot of grief over what's going on, here with coaching changes and the money we pay out, but that is all athletic money. It's not the taxpayers' tax dollars that's funding those things. And if people really drill down and look, it's athletics that does fund a portion of what goes on in the academic house. And so good job to Chancellor Green and President Carter and their crew, and Chris Kaborik especially, and Athletic Director Alberts for putting this together.
Any other questions or comments? Call the roll, please.
Regent Sadi,
Yes.
Regent Sims,
Yes.
Regent Drake,
Yes.
Regent Kent,
Yes.
Regent Stark,
Yes.
Regent Claire,
Yes.
Regent Kenny,
Yes.
Regent O'Connor,
Yes.
Regent Ferris,
Yes.
Regent Pillen,
Yes.
Regent Schaefer.
Yes.
The motion passes.
Item 11B6 seeks your approval to add an addendum to the lease and operating agreement for Pinnacle Bank Arena to pilot alcohol sales during the men's and women's basketball for a 2-year period beginning with the upcoming 2022-2023 seasons. Under the proposed addendum, the university would receive 10% of net revenue, which is estimated to be approximately $100,000. As you recall, the board amended its alcohol policies earlier this year to allow us to bring forward proposals when we think that it makes sense for our fans and the University Pinnacle Bank Arena, which meets that standard. This item was reviewed by the Business and Finance Committee, and I recommend it to you for your approval.
Is there a motion to approve item 11B6?
I make that motion.
Is there a second?
Second.
Motion and a second. Any comment or discussion?
I know there have been some concerns about, this specific item on our agenda today. I just want to add that this has not been done without some serious thought, without consulting, the experts on the topic, and allowing people access in a responsible way, in a controlled environment. That's one of the safest things that we can do for our students and our community. So I just want to add that I am in full support.
Other comments?
I agree with those comments, and I think this is a test run to see how it works. With that is an opportunity and to enhance the fan experience, but with opportunities comes responsibilities and accountability, not only to ourselves but to other people and other patrons that are at the game. And so this is as President Carter alluded to, this is a test run to see how it works. And from there, if it does work, then maybe we'll continue it beyond the 2 years. But I think it's really important. This is something that requires all patrons of the game to be accountable, and I would just encourage that amongst the fans that are in attendance.
Okay. Other comments? Discussion? Jim?
Maybe a question to Chancellor Lee, because just so the public all knows, at University of Nebraska Omaha campus, we've had alcohol at Baxter Arena for hockey games, men's and women's basketball, and also baseball and softball. So, has there been any adverse outcomes, public safety issues? Because we've got that experience for a number of years. Just so everybody's in the loop on that.
Thank you, Regent Palin. And I have to agree with Regent Sims made a comment about controlled environment. This is exceptionally important for college athletic event, that we will enrich the fans' experience and simultaneously provide a more measured and controlled environment. So we have not seen any behavior that is of concern at this point. And so I would say, yes, it's been going well with what's going on in UNO at this point. Thank you.
Thank you.
Other comments or questions?
Well, and this was a measured approach that we've brought to the table on this whole thing. It's had quite some time spent on it. People have vetted it very thoroughly, and as mentioned and stated in the agreement, it's a 2-year trial. And we are doing this already at the University of Nebraska. It is being done at the Omaha campus, and to my knowledge, without incident. And I don't know if there's a more rowdier crowd and raucous crowd than what shows up to hockey. So, and let's face it, they're already doing this at Pinnacle Bank Arena. It's a proven venue for this, and so I think it's wise to experiment and see what we can do there. By no means is this open the door to anything going on at the Memorial Stadium. That's a whole separate issue, that a whole different set of circumstances. So to those wondering out there right now, well, are we going to have alcohol sales at Memorial Stadium? We don't know, and that's not even on the table for discussion right now. So that's another discussion for another day. But at the end of the day, I think this is a good choice. Fan amenities are important. There's, as we're going to discuss down the road here, some other things going on for Memorial Stadium to enhance that fan experience there without the alcohol being brought in at this time. But at the end of the day, though, I think it's a good move whenever we can treat adults as adults. And if somebody wants to go to a ball game and have a beer, let's give that a shot and see what happens.
Chancellor Green, do you have any commentary?
I was just going to make the point that Regent Schaefer just made, that Pinnacle Bank Arena is a joint public authority enterprise in the city of Lincoln. It's not on the university campus. They have a great history in this regard of being able to handle alcohol provision very well in their setting, and we feel very, very comfortable with this proposal for moving forward as a pilot the next couple of years.
Okay, thank you. Any other comments or questions? It's a little different when I got everybody all in a line here. I can't see half of them. So, okay. Doesn't look like anybody is urging on commentary. So let's move on to the next item, which is the vote.
All right, Regent Sims?
Yes.
Regent Drake?
Yes.
Regent Kent?
Yes.
Regent Sadi?
Yes.
Regent Clare?
Yes.
Regent Kenny?
Yes.
Regent O'Connor?
Yes.
Regent Ferris?
Yes.
Regent Pillen?
Yes.
Regent Schaefer?
Yes.
Regent Stark?
Yes.
The motion passes.
All right.
Item 11B7 seeks your approval to waive portions of Regents Policy 6.3.6 and 6.3.7 to allow us a more flexible process for renovating Memorial Stadium. As we know, our stadium will turn 100 years old next year. the most beloved facility in Nebraska. We want to start thinking about what the stadium of the next 100 years would look like. If the board approves, Athletic Director Alberts and our teams would be able to select a program manager, design team, and construction firm earlier in the process so that we would have a team of experts on our side from day one. Why the unique process? Renovating Memorial Stadium involves a whole different level of complexity and moving parts. It would be a great benefit to Athletic Director Alberts to have a right-hand team of experts and advocates throughout the entire process. And since what we're able to do will depend on how much philanthropic support we can raise, we need to be flexible as we progress. The Board of Regents would consider the program statement for approval before the project could move forward and receive the intermediate design report before the construction could begin. This item was reviewed by the Business and Finance Committee, and I recommend it to you for your approval.
Is there a motion to approve?
I'll make it.
Second.
And a second. I would make just a couple of comments and open for any others from members of the board, but just remember that this is a little bit of a reverse process. Normally, this all happens and then the final process comes forward to the board. I think it makes great sense on a project of this size and complexity for us to get a lot of input and a lot of voices that can easily be heard. And creation of this allows that to happen so that they can work their way through it. This may not be something that happens in the speed of light. I would hope not. I would hope that it would take time to really consider carefully anything we might be ready to do at the stadium. Then, when that report comes, we'll have something positive to look at and vote on in terms of what time schedule, cost, how much money has been committed at this point, so we'll know where we sit rather than having to go out and figure all this out with no idea whether it would meet with good approval. So I think it's a very good approach to a very complex problem. Other comments?
I have one, Bob.
Yes.
One of the reasons I like the ideas behind this is see yourself at the top row of the South Stadium and you have to go to the restroom. It's a long ways down to get a pop, go to the restroom or anything. So you got to think about the fans there. And I thought some of the ideas I'd heard about, upgrading the South Stadium were huge, and other things changed, like the dining area for the students. That will not be used anymore. So there's ideas that go along with that. When we move to the new facility to the east side of stadium, that leaves a lot of open area underneath the West Stadium. So there's a lot of really cool ideas, and we need to really take a look at them and see what's affordable.
Okay, thank you, Paul. Are there other comments?
I wanted to just offer some reflections on, I think these are really big items to come to the University of Nebraska in terms of athletics, which is probably one of the most public things that the university can do. And I remind myself, even as we sit at Kearney at a table covered in Loper blue, there's nothing more Nebraskan than the Husker fan experience. This week is homecoming week on my home campus at the University of Nebraska-Lincoln. And as we celebrate the best that Nebraska has to offer academically and athletically for the last 153 years, the items on this agenda have reflected a vision for future generations of Huskers to come. On behalf of the students of the University of Nebraska-Lincoln and fans across this state, I think oftentimes students are the most powerful fan base that we can have. I really support this futuristic perspective on what Nebraska can be and what Memorial Stadium can be. These are not decisions made lightly, and creating a plan for a plan makes me reflect on why I chose to come to school here. I came to Nebraska for the simple fact that growing up, I always wanted to be a Husker, and I think that's an experience that many, many students going through high school share as they decide what university that they want to go to. I wanted to be a part of the best fan experience in college football at an unmatched value in the Big Ten. And that fan experience is shared by students, families, fans across the state of Nebraska, and I think it's what makes us so special. We can't be quick to forget that on Husker game day, Kearney drops one rank in the population rankings as fans draw to Memorial Stadium, and it becomes the 3rd largest city on game day. So I just firmly believe in the future of Husker athletics. I'm so proud of the student athletes who dedicate their college experience to playing for and representing our university under intense scrutiny of fans who, albeit sometimes, forget that we are all just 20 to 22-year-olds making our way through as students. It's selfless work, and we are all extremely passionate about that representation of Nebraska. And I think that I'm really excited about the changes we're making, and I'm happy to support them.
Okay, Jake, thank you. Ronnie?
I might just make one kind of detail kind of a comment here. Number one, the need is there, and I think you've heard that reflected in some of the comments of the members of the board. But the timing, the look into this and the need to do this now is also reflective of the fact that we'll finish the Go Big facility next summer. That you're aware of is under construction currently. The timing of that is allowing us to really think about now the stadium and the needs in the stadium. So it's the timing of doing this now and wanting to move forward now is somewhat linked to those two things, if that makes sense.
Bob, I have one comment.
Sure.
As we move forward, I think one thing that we've maybe not made a priority in the past has been seating for the students at Husker games, and I think that's really something we need to take a good look at and what we can do to make them more incorporated into the whole process, the environment. I mean, hopefully they're only there 4 years and then they move on, but there's a lot of students that can transition through those seats and be a part of the game, and if they're seated properly in the right locations, they can actually have a major impact sometimes that on the outcome of a game, especially toward the end when things are in a tight game. So we need to not forget the students when we move forward with this project.
Chairman Ferris.
Other comments or questions, Jim?
I just have 2 comments that I think haven't been said that I think are really relevant. Maybe number one, we've had 60 years now of extraordinary Nebraska fans supporting through thick and thin, and we don't brag enough about the shape, the economic shape our athletic department is. No debt. So that from a fiscal responsibility perspective, whatever is going to become the vision will be 100% from philanthropy and because of Nebraska fans. Not a penny of tax dollars, not a penny of student fees. 100% Nebraskans that love Nebraska. I think that's really, really important. Number 2, in the 100-year history, unfortunately, I'm old enough to remember the 60 years since '62, and there's been a lot of projects take place at Memorial Stadium, and not throwing any old stones, but when we all got fired up winning football games in 1962, and I think it was 1965 when the first expansion on the north side, and some of those took place quite rapidly, and so I'm 100% in favor of this changing the policies, because this is the only time we're going to have a chance to get it right, and a full collaborative team of Nebraskans being a part of this is really, really important, and we have a chance to have this set up for generations to come, and I'm excited. At times a little overwhelming, because we've done so many things, but this is important, but fiscally responsible. No student fees, no tax dollars. I think that's really important for everybody to keep top of mind. And why does this happen? Only because of the great Nebraska fans.
Okay, thank you. Any other comment? All righty. Let's call the roll.
Regent Drake.
And remember, you're not approving any project here, folks. You're just approving the process and letting the planning process go first before we look at what we're going to do.
Okay. Regent Drake.
Yes.
Regent Kent.
Yes.
Regent Sadi.
Yes.
Regent Sims.
Yes.
Regent Claire.
Yes.
Regent Kenny.
Yes.
Regent O'Connor.
Yes.
Regent Ferris.
Yes.
Regent Pillen.
Yes.
Regent Schaefer.
Yes.
Regent Stark.
Yes.
The motion passes.
Okay.
Item 11B8 seeks your approval of the program statement, ground lease, condo declaration, and covenants for the UNMC Innovation Hub at Catalyst Project. This proposed facility would be south of the future administration facility on the Saddle Creek campus. It would bring our technology transfer office, Unimed, and accelerator, Unitech, together to facilitate the growth of research and innovation alongside private entrepreneurs, investors, and innovators. The proposed facility will cost $29.3 million. This item was reviewed by the Business and Finance Committee, and I recommend it to you for your approval.
Is there a motion to accept?
So moved.
Second.
Motion is second. Questions or comments? Source of funding on the project?
Mr. Kabork, you want to talk about that? The source of funding for this project?
Hang on.
Roughly 25 million from the internal lending program and the rest from campus reserves, I believe.
Okay.
Is this going to be, can you maybe share a little bit how this is maybe similar in nature and then different from maybe what we have going on at Innovation Campus in Lincoln? Can someone address that?
There we go. Thank you. So this is going to be a campus where we have the ability to provide an incubator, an innovation campus where we have a combination of the intellectual property of our faculty working with startup companies and creating an incubator environment where we take those and hopefully provide venture capital opportunities and do a lot of the wraparound services for those startup companies then to grow and move into, you know, larger space within that facility.
When you talk about the venture capital, can you share a little bit about that? We have angel investors scattered around the state or the country that are willing to participate. Can you just elaborate a little bit on that?
Right. So that's one of the things that we will be building as we're also developing this facility. So Unimed and Unitech do a little bit of that right now, but that's one of the things that we actually want to grow is access to that venture capital. So we are looking at an entrepreneur in residence program similar to a lot of other innovation hubs across the country, where we actually might take some of our business students and provide internship opportunities, but we actually take people who've done those business startups and create an environment, because sometimes a scientist are incredibly smart individuals, but they're not necessarily good at starting a company. Right. And so this will provide them an opportunity to have those entrepreneurs also go alongside with the startup company kind of from ground zero.
Will there be some of our successful business people around the state and especially in Omaha that'll be participating and mentoring and coaching?
Absolutely. We've had a lot of demand so far. A lot of those community people are asking about the land. So we actually will have this building, the administrative building, but there will be other buildings in that Saddle Creek development. The university will have approximately 40,000 square foot in the condo unit that we own. The developer will have another 120,000 square feet approximately. We've had a significant amount of demand already for the space that we will have available.
Thank you.
Okay. No other questions or comments? Let's call the roll.
Regent Kent.
Yes.
Regent Sadi,
Yes.
Regent Sims,
Yes.
Regent Drake,
Yes.
Regent Kenny,
Yes.
Regent O'Connor,
Yes.
Regent Ferris,
Yes.
Regent Pillen,
Yes.
Regent Schaefer,
Yes.
Regent Stark,
Yes.
Regent Clare.
Yes.
The motion passes.
Under the reports section, there are numerous reports for your review.
Okay, I would accept those reports on behalf of the board. And let me also recognize the leadership UNK who have taken their time and effort to come out and support our board meeting here at Kearney today. So thank you to all of you who are present. We appreciate your presence and what you do. We do have an item that we need to take care of in closed session. And so before you all get up and hustle, assuming that the motion passes, we will leave and you can stay where you are. And I hope that we will not be an extraordinarily long period of time, but we do need a little opportunity for the board to discuss a personnel item that fits the criteria for a closed session. So I would accept the motion for that.
So move.
Mr. Chairman,
Yes, sir.
I move that the Board of Regents go into closed session as authorized by Section 84-1410 of the revised statutes of Nebraska for the protection of the public interest and to prevent needless injury to the reputation of persons who have not requested a public hearing, for the purpose of holding a discussion limited to the following subject: personnel matters involving members of the university staff.
And I think that's exactly what Jack said as a second. Right?
Yes.
To start?
Yes.
Any discussion, questions? Please call the roll.
Regent Sadi,
Yes.
Regent Sims,
Yes.
Regent Drake,
Yes.
Regent Kent,
Yes.
Regent O'Connor,
Yes.
Regent Ferris,
Yes.
Regent Pillen,
Yes.
Regent Schaefer,
Yes.
Regent Stark,
Yes.
Regent Clare,
Yes.
Regent Kenny.
Yes.
The motion passes.
And I would just simply say to those of you that are here that we will we have no plans to take any action on this item. We just need the opportunity to do the closed session discussion. When we come back, there will be no further business. We'll have to come back into session then so we can adjourn. So you're not going to miss anything. That's the point of all of that. If you want to stay and finish up the coffee and the donuts, please do so. And let's move next door, folks. Alrighty, just a quick commentary to let you know that we are now back in session and that there is no further business. And we are now stand adjourned. Have a good day. Thank you.